Osiriame Obalabi Edeipo, Edo's North Senatorial candidate of the Boot Party, who doubles as the chairman of the party in the state, is my guest live in the studio. It's good to see you, and thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Well, he's also a poet, a writer, and a publisher, but again, an engineer who's got a big love for education and publishing. First, let's talk about your incursion in politics. You're running for office. You're the candidate for the Edo North, and you're gunning against no small, individuals in Edo State. Former National Party chairman of the APC, Adams Osiriame, who's two-time governor of the state, Senator Francis Alimikene, and there we have you against these heavyweights. Speak to us on how you hope to actually change the course, the dynamics of politics in Edo North.
Well, I want to really appreciate you for having me on the show. I want to say that politics is all about, it's not like war. It all depends on your strategy. It does not really mean that because you have more ammunition, you have more men, you win a war. It all depends on how you are able to intelligently use the resources at your disposal. So within the ambient of the resources at my control, we're working on the ground and we hope to pull a surprise. That's the most I can say for now.
And what do you think is that thing that the people of Edo North lack at the moment in the National Assembly that you think you're a better alternative?
To be candid, I have a 3-point agenda that I'm pursuing very, very rigorously.
3?
Yes. If I'm given the opportunity to be at the Senate, 3 of them, very quickly I will take them. The first is current reality legislation. I have taken time to look at our criminal codes, and I found out that our criminal code are actually obsolete, and we need to really look at them. A society that has obsolete laws will have a lot of crises as we see them in Nigeria right now. Secondly, I think our educational system are very, very faulty. We still rely on the obsolete, permit me to use the word obsolete, educational system that the British bequeathed to us. But the high flyers in international politics, that is what we refer to as the emerging economies, they don't work with the template they inherited. They've gone beyond that. The Dubais, the Singapore and all that, they've carved a niche for themselves, something that is workable with the present reality. But in Nigeria, we don't see it, we see little or nothing. So it is the system that we have inherited, and it's at the point of legislation that can be corrected. That's number one. Number two, I found out that there is a serious disconnect between the legislators and the people. Once they are voted in, they go to oblivion. You hardly see them. So I, for one, if we voted in for Senate, will establish a constituency office in all the local governments so that the average man, ordinary man on the street can walk up to the constituency office and tell what his or her plight is.
Every local government?
Every local government.
And how many local governments do you have making up your senatorial district?
Six. So we have staffs there that are active and proactive. Immediately the complaint come, they push it up to me, and certainly one will have to come regularly, often, to interact with the people. So that is the niche I'm trying to bring in. Now, lastly, what I call genuine grassroots development. It's an open secret that Nigerian legislators are giving what they call constituency allowance to at least make the people feel the impact of the government through them. In other climes, it's not so. The duty of the legislator is strictly to make laws. But in Nigeria, due to our peculiar nature, that has been created. But do you see a serious disconnect in what they are giving and what is reflected on ground. So I have a 5-point agenda under general grassroots the remit I want to pursue. The first is what I call smart agriculture. The people of Afema land are predominantly farmers. So if we have something like tractors, a subsidized rate for them, it will go a long way to make them move from the archaic farming method that they have used to commercial agriculture. Also, we can bring in cloud seeding. Many of them do farm yam and maybe cassava. If they use the impulse of what they've known all this while to plant, and then there is a seizure of rainfall, then all their produce go bad. But with modern technologies like cloud seeding, which the likes of Dubai and other Arab countries use to make rain fall, that becomes no issue. In Africa, for example, only 2 countries, to the best of my knowledge, have used that technology.
Is that something within a senatorial district or something that should be national?
Well, let me speak based on what, if I'm given the resources of my senatorial district, it is left to me to use my discretion to know what my people need. So if the people at the national don't see the need, well, maybe when I start, they will see the need. We are long overdue for this. Our neighbors, Niger, have used this technology over and over again. So why can't we have it nationally?
So how is the Boot Party going in Edo North, specifically towards your ambition? It's a relatively new party.
Yes. Well, as I try to make you to understand, that is still part of what we're trying to do. We're taking it gradually, working on the ground. And very, very soon we are going to come up very, very strongly. We have to work based on what we have. Certainly, it will be absurd for me to want to match the people you call, even in the days of the Bible. David did not go with the weapon Goliath came with. He chose his weapons very carefully. But at the end of the battle, we know who won. So that's as much I can say in that direction.
So it's 18 days to the election in the country, and that's when people will be going to the polls. Are there challenges the constituents, the people in your area, have brought before you leading up to this election?
Well, certainly.
Now I'm trying to look at electoral challenges, collection of voter cards, voter awareness, locating their polling units.
Of course, those have been issues that have been on for quite a number of time. But it was a good one that INEC actually extended the collection period for voters' card. It was a good one, and I think those of them that had that issue by now, if they really mean to vote, they will have been able to resolve that. Certainly, by now, they should have also been able to identify where their polling unit is, and on that day they will go to do justice.
And one other issue has to do you have a governorship candidate in this state?
No, you know that those states don't have.
Okay, election is not going to into election.
In the next 2 years.
So just Senate.
Yeah.
And your presidential?
Yes, we have a presidential candidate. His name is Sonny Adenuga. Yes.
Now, quickly here, let's talk about education. Which is one of the key concerns of yours, and you're big on education. Looking at the schools in Edo State, should you be elected, are there things you have actually viewed that should be within these schools in Edo North that you thought perhaps the state and the senator who is in charge hasn't taken into account to fix it? Well,
Edo North Senatorial District is divided into 2 major arms, the Itako axis and the Onwa and Akoko Edo axis. Itako has Edo State University, established by the former governor, but I'm aware that for some time now, there's been a plan on ground to establish a federal university of sports in the Akko corridor on one axis. If I'm voted into Senate, I will pursue that rigorously, because I believe that a university or an institution enables a society or a community to develop fast. If you take a good look at maybe a place like Uromi and Epoma before the creation of Sulaiman Aledeh University, Uromi was far ahead of Epoma. But with the advent of university in Epoma, in short, in my judgment, is even larger than Uromi now. So if we want things to be, I will not say because I'm from the axis and then I will, no, equity should be. Since we have one university in axis, then the other one should have it. So I will pursue that very rigorously. And then the schools, it's quite unfortunate that a lot of people come on air to tell us, oh, we've done a lot, we've renovated a lot of schools, we've done this, we've done that, and they show us the pictures from the outside. Take a look at the inside, the furnitures. It's a far cry from what they paint. So all those things are things that, right from primary school, from the primary school level to perhaps university level, within our means, we will certainly do something about it.
And you're an author, a prolific one, and a poet.
Yes.
So let's quickly, as we wind down, let's look at your books. And I'm big on poetry and poems, and perhaps I want to look at poems. Are there poems? By the way, how many poems have you written?
I've written over 40.
Over 40 poems. And do you have any that sort of speak or addresses, the present-day Nigeria issue?
Yes, I have quite a number that speak. Actually, all my poems are centered on what is going on in the country right now. But there is this one that has been trending. It's titled "Nigerian Youth, Is Your Brain Paining You?" But the one I want to share with us, if I'm given the permission, is the one that just came up my brain this morning, and I had to put pen to.
A brand new poem?
Yes. It came up I wrote it this morning, this very morning.
What inspires you to write?
What I see around me, the challenges in the country. It's a pity that people that were massively supported by this country are the one calling for the heads of the youth. People that went to school when the university, when the undergraduates ate chicken and rice with little or nothing from their pockets. They are the one now wanting undergraduates not to go to school at all or to pay through their nose. It's painful. But I know one thing for sure. Somebody said that there's enough resources for our needs, but there is never enough for one man's greed. And that is actually one of the problems with this country. We have a lot of resources. This country is massively blessed. In one of my books, there's a chapter I titled Nigerians and My Nigerianness. And I try to pen down some of the ways God has massively blessed this country with a lot of resources.
But again, quite frankly, we can't compare what people went through in the days in the 60s and 70s to what's the population of Nigeria is one thing that you must also put into perspective.
I beg to disagree.
So why would you
Why
disagree?
I beg to disagree is, if you look at the rate of, permit me to use the word, thievery from our federal purse, from our collective purse, you find out that we have more than enough. As you are trying to investigate, this one is coming out and this one is coming out. So if all those resources are actually put in place, I tell you, despite the fact that we are not the most populous country in the world. For crying out loud, United States of America, China, and India, what a number! We have about six countries right now that are more populated than us. Nigeria is the 7th most populated country in the world. But by all standards, those countries are doing far better than us. And to be very candid, if you look at the natural resources and human resources we have in this country, we shouldn't be where we are. We should be living better than them. So I beg to disagree that it's because we have, how many are we? China is over 1 billion. We are just struggling with 200 and something persons. So, and our weather, don't forget that. Our weather is fantastic. China have some periods that they can't walk because of the weather.
So now let's quickly close on this. An engineer, politician, and a poet, and out of 40 plus 41, now you just said you penned one.
Yes.
Today, I really wish that we can have people who can just quickly put pen to paper and bring up poems. As I close, if I give you the chance to pick out of your poems a short, relevant poem to our today's Nigeria, what would that be?
The one I wrote this morning.
The one you wrote this morning?
Yes.
You have it off the top of your head?
Please permit me to just read it out.
Oh, that's a draft?
Yes, that's a draft. I hope you don't mind.
Go ahead, Balvin.
If it is juju or mumu, it must stop.
What's the title?
That's the title.
Oh, if it is juju or
mumu,
it must stop.
That's the title. Many waters has passed under our bridge as a people. If the waters were all good, I would have held my peace. Dirty waters, bad waters, smelling waters has passed, is passing, and is yet programmed to continue to pass if drastic measures are not taken to stop the bad trend. Youths are the leaders of tomorrow. Tomorrow is here, and grandpas now claim to be youths. And some persons believe that their grandpas are right. If it is juju or mumu, it must stop. Every 4 years, some persons, in quote, change skin and tell us that NEPA will be fixed. Employment will be available to all. Naira will become king of money. Schools and hospitals will be top-notch. Blah, blah, blah. When they fail to fulfill their promises, some persons still believe them for silly reasons a blind man can see and readily fault. If it is juju or mumu, it must stop.
Can we go to the last stanza?
Thank you. Wake up, Nigerians. Only a fool keeps doing the same thing and expect a different result. We can't keep recycling the same, in quote, leaders and their, in quote, skin and expect them to do wonders overnight. In the forthcoming elections, this juju must spoil and this mumu must stop. If you agree with me, say amen. But you must do something. You must do something right. Great people of Nigeria, I hail.
If it is juju or mumu,
if it is juju, it must spoil.
It must spoil.
And if it is mumu, it must stop. But you must do something right.
Edeipo, Osiriame, Obalabi, I'd like to thank you for your time as Edo State North Senatorial candidate for Boot Party. It's a pleasure having you, and I'm quite sure that's the first time you're doing this on television.
Absolutely.